Hey everybody, how's it going? Today I want to talk about this article that Eli, the computer guy, linked to on his channel, which is about Apple, the rumor that they are not going to be including the power adapter in newer iPhone models to save money because of the expense of 5G, and how this is an interesting one. So Eli's take was that this may actually be a good thing because, let's face it, at this point we're wasting resources making more of these power adapters since everybody seems to already have them. It's 2020. Chances are you're not, but if you're buying a $1,000 or $1,500 smartphone, chances are that's not your first smartphone, and you probably have a power adapter from your iPhone 4, 5, 6, 6S, 7, 8, 10 or whatever, or your Samsung S3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, because most of them use the same charger, 120 or 230 volts in, 5 or 9 volts out with a little USB plug on it. They're everywhere. I know that I have at least 3 or 5 of them myself. Some of them are fast chargers, some of them are normal chargers that only put out 1 or 2 amps at 5 volts, but for the most part, it'll charge your phone. Now, the way that I come at this is I actually agree with the fact that it's probably wasteful in 2020, now that we recognize that every Tom, Dick, and Harry has purchased a smartphone, to continue to include chargers when your old charger will still work, especially in a time where we care about the environment. And I do agree with the fact that most people already have these. Even people that I know that are not in the best of financial condition have the newest phone. How this works is beyond me, but people seem to always find a way to buy a new one. And when you buy a new one, you probably didn't throw away the charger for your old one. However, the marketing is what interests me here, the way that they market it. So how do I put this? If I sell a product for $100 and $70 of shipping, that is a ripoff. However, if I sell that same product for $200 in free shipping, it's a deal. And if I give you a 5% off coupon, you might just tell all your friends what a nice guy I am, even though it's still $15 or $20 more than it was before. This is the way human psychology works when it comes to pricing. People are willing to pay more money, but they don't want the feeling of being nickeled and dimed. And when you're selling something that is a phone that's over $1,300, if you remove the charger from the box and you don't give a little checkbox that says, remove charger, let me save $15 to save the environment, that is going to give people the feeling that they're kind of getting nickeled and dimed. And again, it's okay to charge more money for a product or service, but you want to make sure you do it in a way, if you're a manufacturer or a business owner, where people do not feel like they are being nickeled and dimed. This is why flat rates tend to be better than having a bunch of tiny little chargers that you slowly add on, even if the flat rate winds up being a little more expensive. It's the feeling. And I think that this is interesting that they can particularly do it in this way, where the product's price is not going to be reduced in any way, or there's not going to be an option to reduce the price, yet you're getting less than you did before, especially since the product price continues to go up with time. So, I'm old enough, I have enough gray hair to remember when a flagship smartphone cost $600 and not a penny more. And now we're getting, went to $800 and $1,000. Now $1,300 or $1,500 for a flagship smartphone. So to remove an option that you used to get, and not give you that little thing where it says, we'll give you $5 or $10 off, it really does seem like nickel and diming. And what I find interesting is that also the reason given, because of the expense of 5G. So this is bad, because if you were saying, listen, we just want to save the environment or whatever, whether or not people thought that was your motive, we're not going to focus on cost. But now that you bring up the expense of 5G, now we're forced to look at the price of the product. You're directing the customer's attention to the price of the product because you just mentioned expense. They weren't thinking about it. Now you plan that in their head, which is going to cause them to look at it and go, this costs $900 more than when I used to buy the flagship product. Man, what the fuck you mean you don't have money for a different modem? Because when you look at it, this is $900 more than the old iPhone when it first came out. So how is it that you're not able to fit a charger in there? Just from a PR standpoint, don't mention expense at all. Keep it about the environment. Keep it about the item that you want to pretend you care about. Don't bring it to the part that you actually care about, because now you're detracting from the point, which is you want to pretend you care about the environment to save some money in manufacturing. Because let's face it, even Eli can say that this charger probably costs $1, maybe $2. The third point that I honestly should have brought up much sooner in the video is that iPhones have something called the Snowflake Chip. It's called a TriStar, and some of the older ones, they think it's the NXP 1608, and the newer ones, it was the 1610, A1, A2, A3, the NXP 610A3B. This is a communications chip and a charging chip. I call it the Snowflake Chip because if you use any charger other than the one that came in the box, the TriStar chip tends to die. Whereas with Android phones, with my $140 Moto G, I can use a cheap piece of crap gas station charger. I can use that charger on my bike where I'm using a buck converter that does 72 volts to 12 volts and then a 12 volt to 5 volt charger while I'm revving my bike and the voltage is going up and down as I'm going from 0 to 40 miles an hour. And it does not kill my phone because my phone is an Android phone, which does not use a TriStar chip. With an iPhone, you kill this chip very easily. I don't know how many people who watch this channel literally make their living from replacing TriStar chips in iPhones, but it is a very common occurrence. So if you sell the phone that has the Snowflake chip that dies constantly without the original charger, you're likely going to have more people that go around their house and go, oh, I can't find my Apple charger. Oh, look, I have a charger for my Bluetooth headset. I have a charger for my whatever the hell. And they're going to plug their phone into that. And if the new iPhones have charging chips that are as crappy as the old ones, then they will die. I don't know what the newest iPhone uses for charging chips, nor do I know particularly if they are as vulnerable as the old ones, because we're talking about new iPhone models that have not actually come out yet. But I do wonder about this as an issue, since this really is an issue with a lot of iPhones. Like this whole TriStar chip dying. There is an item that's being sold for over $100. This company makes it called the TriStar Tester because this chip dies often enough for it to actually warrant a tool that costs over $100 solely to test that chip. So I find this particularly funny that you sell a phone that is way more sensitive than any other phone to this issue, and at the same time, you're not going to include the charger with it, and that's just, I find it kind of funny. Well, and I also think it really just shows the confidence that they have in their marketing, and that they're able to do this, and they're able to say, listen, yeah, the environment, but yeah, a 5G is expensive, and we're only charging $900 more for our flagship model than we were when the iPhone came out. So how are we going to afford the 5G without it? To make a statement like that is so ridiculous. It really does show how they lean on their users to support them regardless of what they say or do. So what I find is with other companies, what people will do is if they do something that's kind of weird, the users will say, well, I expect the company to release an explanation for this. Yeah. Whereas with Apple, what people will do is they will think Apple always wants to do the right thing. They're always doing the right or the innovative thing. They're always doing what they should do. So if they did something that I think is BS, there must be a reason for it. So rather than reasoning from, I don't like what they did, let's assume that they made a mistake. The reasoning is typically, Apple is a company that always innovates and does the right thing for the user experience. So I must be wrong if I think that there's something wrong with this. If you're spending $1,500 on a phone, why can't you afford $20 for a charger, you poor bum? These products are not for poor people, or something like that. Or, why can't you afford? Yeah, I know they're trying to charge you $1,000 to replace a fuse or whatever, but you bought a $2,000 device. Why didn't you buy? Oh, your Apple Care ran out. Why don't you have home insurance? Why doesn't your home insurance cover your MacBook? Why are you poor? Why can't you afford a $1,000 repair? Oh, you don't have your data because the drive is soldered on and it's encrypted and they don't make the tools available to get him. Okay, so your latest backup was yesterday. Why was your latest backup yesterday? The thing that you were working on today, why didn't you have that on two different devices? Why are you stupid? Why are you dumb? Why are you bad at your job? It's not their fault that they develop a product with a CD3017 that doesn't get sold to anybody, so that if your charging chip dies, your entire computer is dead and your data is gone. It's your fault. It's always your fault. And that's the thing that I really find interesting when I read comment sections on these websites. It's reasoning that always starts with the principle that Apple, everything they do is correct. So if there's something being done that I don't like, it must be me. It must be me that's wrong, not the company. And this is something that I always find interesting, how people who are simply Apple users actually tend to turn into Apple stockholders when things like this show up. They act like they own shares of the company, even when they don't. I find it fascinating from just a business owner's point of view. I would love to be able to create that sense of loyalty in my own customers to where, I mean, I'm not saying that I would want to use it for nefarious reasons, but the idea that if a customer is having a problem with my product or service, that it must be them. It must be something that they did. It must be something that they're thinking that's wrong, not something I did, is something that I think most business owners would kill for. And, you know, there are ways to build up that trust. And I have known businesses that have such a reputation that when they do something, their customers actually start looking within to think maybe I'm wrong for not liking this. But damn, that shit's not easy. That's not an easy trick to pull off where you have your customers in a mindset where they feel like your stockholders. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now. Also, here's Blackberry. She's my kitty. I love my kitty.